last night.
Either they finish it last night,
Kick him out.
or they just replay the whole ass game.
All right, Hunter.
Yeah.
Bunch of Hornet stuff actually today.
Yeah.
Did you see Nick Batum?
I did not see. Well, I
He
saw
has
him
come
there
out. He has come out and apologized to Hornets fans
for being awful.
basically.
Okay.
Let's see.
Think
He
about it.
apologized for not playing up to his level of his domestic contract. He also said he's not determined not to be an asshole about the fact he never plays anymore. So,
Well, you're right. He doesn't. Even last night, it didn't even. They played Willie Hernan Gomez, who usually is a do not play
Right.
alongside of Batum, and they didn't even give him playing time.
He said this franchise has got a bright future, but I don't think I'll be a part of it. He's 31 years old, still has 3 more years on his deal, or 1 more year on his deal.
Well, I'm glad that
$24
he
million.
recognizes that he won't be a part of it. That's the first, the road to recovery is acceptance, and he has accepted his role.
And then just going talking about, and then somebody says if the Hornets didn't pay him, somebody else would.
No,
Well, no,
Well,
they would have, but
that year,
that doesn't mean you have to.
right?
Just because someone else will pay Dak Prescott $40 million or someone else will
You don't
pay
have
Cam Newton $35 million doesn't mean that you have to.
You're right, and
The Hornets
but here's
didn't
the
have
thing:
to sign him.
they didn't have to give him that much money either.
Right.
There's no guarantee. Just because somebody else would have signed him doesn't mean they would have even thought of that gaudy amount of money to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna pull up. I'm gonna see Batum's stat in Portland before he came.
I mean, he was a decent player in Portland.
Right, and people thought he would be a great compliment for Kemba, and then they didn't re-sign Kemba.
Nick Batum was really one of the first spot-up shooters from like the 3-4 role because his athleticism is not crazy, and he couldn't really slash and drive the rim, but he had a good mid-range and three-point shot. So I mean,
his career's not too bad. The year
his career's not that bad.
11 points. I mean, it's better than Draymond Green.
Yeah. Oh well. Yeah.
But
you made the great point. Yeah.
The year they gave him a $24 million contract, he averaged 9 points a game.
Just bad money management.
So I mean, sorry, Hornets. You can blame other people all you want. Say, well, someone else would have, but that don't mean you had to.
It's just
you've
bad.
had 9 straight
Yeah.
lottery picks, and you traded one away, and only one of them was successful.
Yeah.
And it's been nothing but garbage. And then you signed $24 million to a player only averaging 9 points a game. To make it simple for you folks, their scoring average is pretty much the same as the salary cap.
Right.
So 110, right? If you get paid $24 million and you don't score 4 points a game, you're losing 15 points a game / $15 million on one player.
You know, and I saw a player last night for the Spurs who's getting ready to be up in free agency, who I think they need to go after in a heartbeat. DeMar DeRozan.
It'll never happen.
No, I know it won't.
They have to do what they did with Batum. You have to overpay someone to get them to come to Charlotte. Charlotte is not a free agent destination. That's our biggest thing. We have to make a trade, Hunter. And when they signed Mitch Kupchak, I thought that was what was about to happen. It's because he has experience in the league.
Mm-hmm.
All the GMs and owners know him. And then so I thought that what they would do was would start making moves. And instead, they've really done nothing but just let contracts end.
Or buy him out.
Well,
Like
I mean, they
like they've
could.
started to do now. Buy him out.
I mean, they could.
Make a roster spot, pull up another guy from the G League, because they did play young last night. There were 2 guys on that team. I had no idea who one of them. It was that Shatley guy, Shatley guy. I don't know. I had no idea who it was. And that McDaniels guy that came in and played for him, within like a minute, he had 2 fouls already. He looked lost for a second. They're playing the other Martin twin, Caleb, not Cody. I mean, they're playing both of them now. So you know what? I think James Borrego thought back to my question and was like, "Yeah, we need to play young.
You've been leading the Hornets the last 2 weeks.
I have. It's been me. It's been all me. It's been all me. And that's just what I'm saying is, you know, and you know what I don't understand either. I don't understand how they can get away with this. I guess because they technically own his rights, even though he plays on their G League team. But I don't see how they can run promotionals at the arena for Dwayne Bacon, like bobbleheads where he's like wearing bacon, and he doesn't even play on the professional team. They have him on the G League team. They have not called him up in months, and they will run promos for Dwayne Bacon. when they show the video, the hype video at the beginning, they show Dwayne Bacon. He's still on the G League team. I don't understand. Like, just move off a guy, buy out Batum, and pull up Dwayne Bacon. At this point, what do you have to lose? They were winning last night. Good. You were also winning against a guy that had never been in a head coaching seat in his life and just took over an assistant coaching position this year. So, all right, you thought you were in the driver's seat, and guess what? You lost in Hornets fashion. They just made adjustments at halftime. I thought that was really good of San Antonio. But Wes looked at me because, like I said, I was sitting with my cousin and her husband, and her husband looked at me, and he said, you know what? It might actually just be in the Hornets' best interest to lose. To just lose this game and continue to try and get a good draft pick. And we all know it is in their best interest, but damn, don't look at me and say you're going to be competitive. You can't play young and be competitive at the same time. I promise you can't, because even though you have a lot of lottery picks, in the NBA, very rarely do everybody after the first 3 picks pan out. So, and especially lately. I'm sorry, JB, it just don't work that way.
Hunter,
yeah,
I had a thought I was going to go to. And
what's your thought?
During the middle of that,
it happened.
You made
like
me go blank.
I
even pulled up the webpage to type it in. Now, damn it, what was it? You was talking about shit.
I was talking about Hornets.
I remember in an hour, and I was trying to roll through my tweets and make sure that I
was
thought
it about,
something would tip me off of what it was.
Was it about Batum? Was it about his contract? Was it about his stats? And you've had those pulled up.
No, I've already got rid of his god-awful
Was it
stats.
about how I was mad that they're using Dwayne Bacon to sell merchandise, and yet he's on the G League?
Wasn't that either. While we think about that, I tell you what, we're going to bring up Tim Duncan last night, NBA history, Hunter, his first coaching debut. You were there.
I was there.
You want to give Mr. Duncan a grade on his coaching debut?
I'm going to give him a D.
A D. He won.
A D. I know he won. I know he won. But, okay, I'll give him a little bit. I'll give him a C+.
Okay.
And the main reason is I know he was dealing with an injury-ridden roster, but even then, and he even said it in this interview when I asked him about it. He addressed that they had to try some different rotations. So to me, I questioned a lot of the rotational lineups that they had. They were down at one point in the first half, kind of like how I saw the Hornets were to Dallas at one point. It was like 16-2. So I was like, oh, man, this is just not looking good at all. But it changed. They made whatever adjustment they made in the second half. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I really didn't see anything different that they did other than they just started to make shots.
Yeah.
And you know, a lot of people can say, oh, if you're coaching and adjustments, this and that. At the end of the day in basketball, you just got to hit your shots, man. That's everything. You might have, if you pull up on a wide open 3, I expect you to hit it. Your mid-range shot, I expect you to hit it if it's uncontested. And that the Spurs just started to hit their shots. So, you know, I guess because it's kind of in the middle, a C+ would be fine. I don't think he did anything spectacular. Okay, and especially working with the cast that he did have, no LaMarcus Aldridge, obviously out still with a shoulder injury. And he addressed it as well that he wasn't the only, like, this game plan wasn't just his. You know, a question that was asked earlier in that someone had asked him, and he said, you know, Becky was in his ear. He essentially said it doesn't matter who really would have been in the head coaching spot tonight. We had this game plan drawn up prior. So whether it was him, Becky, another assistant coach sitting in the head coaching position, they were going to ride with what they had planned out from the get-go.
I'm reading some of the comments on it.
Yeah. What do you say?
Talking about his hair. And
I know, dude. I said that. I said, yeah. I looked at my cousin and said, have you seen what he did with his hair? What the hell?
You watching they talk about him growing it out and blah, blah, blah with the team. But anyway, the reason I scrolled down is I saw 44 people disliked this comment. 4,000 people liked it, but 44 people there's just some people that hate the world, I guess.
Hey, man.
I don't think he said anything bad. We're about to play the interview.
They just want to watch the world burn.
Right. We're gonna play the end of the interview for you folks. Hunter, you'll hear his question as well with Duncan. And so we're gonna let it play out here on the Shock Jock podcast. Here's Tim Duncan after the Hornets game.
They played hard. He made some great adjustments out there. Obviously, I want to win out there, but I love it when he does well as well.
Keeping your coaching out.
How happy are you with the professionalism you guys showed in the situation?
You tried right there, didn't you?
I tried twice.
Yeah, they stuck with it. We got on them in that first quarter, giving up 36 in that first quarter.
Was there a lot of reporters there?
And they responded. They responded real well.
8 or 9.
The offensive glass hurt us early on.
Some of
We
one
made
of them's like
some halftime
NBA
adjustments with
TV
that.
and stuff like that.
We changed
That's
up
where
the
they get
defense
this
a little
stuff
bit.
from and ESPN.
And as we did it on the fly and found something that worked, they continue to respond, continue to make the changes for us, and just happy to get the win.
Going forward off of this game, keeping your coaching hat on right now while we've got you in this position, what would you say is something that you really were impressed with seeing on the floor to go forward riding off of this big comeback win?
I don't know if there's anything specific from tonight. I think just the grind of it. We're out there playing without JOXX, without LA. We got a lot of injuries out there. We got people that are in different rotations, but people stay ready. People stay ready. They step up. They do what we ask them to do. We're limited in the things that we can run because of the lineups that we have out there and different positions we have out there. But people keep showing up and people keep getting it done.
Any advice for Rudy in the post?
I was excited for Rudy. He actually got it going there for a little while. Got on them a little bit about really attacking the basket, and he got a couple of baskets in a row that kind of gave us a lift. So he's going to be big for us going on here until we can get LA and JOXX back as a post player, as a post defender. Again, another guy kind of playing in a position, but it's kind of accepting the challenge.
So that was Tim Duncan on the with Hunter was the second question. It wasn't, you didn't hear a first question. You just heard him talking. Then Hunter asked the next question, and then of course the last one about Rudy Gay there.
I just basically like I wanted him to like just still be in coach mode right there. I didn't want it just to be Tim. I was half tempted to, after I asked him that question, to look at him and say, "Do the players address you as Tim or Coach Duncan?" Because seriously, and that's why I didn't say Coach Duncan right here. Do you know how weird that sounds coming from somebody that grew up watching Tim Duncan as a player?
Did anybody call him Coach while he's standing there? Do you
I don't know if anybody called him
Did anybody
Coach.
call him
I don't
anything
even
or just
no.
y'all
I
start
don't. I think
talking?
they just started talking. I
Okay.
don't think anybody addressed him as Tim or Coach Duncan. But there's say that.
You should have been like Coach D.
Say that. I should.
Coach Duncan.
Coach Duncan. That just doesn't sound right. So I
I
don't
never
know.
thought I might save this for Friday because Chris might lose his mind when I say it. I think Duncan was good, but I never saw the awesomeness of Tim Duncan that other people saw.
Well, no,
and
I mean,
I don't know if it's a flashy thing or that he's
Well,
normal.
he wasn't flashy.
And I'll tell you why. I think my biggest thing is that if they played one-on-one, I believe David Robinson would smoke him.
Well, I think David Robinson had him beat maybe 2 times more, especially on athleticism alone.
Right. If David Robinson played when Wilt Chamberlain played, we'd be talking about Robinson having all the records because that dude was
right.
He might have been, besides Shaq, when Shaq was in shape, those two were the biggest athletic big men I've ever seen. David Robinson could run the floor like a deer. He could also shoot from 18 to 20 feet. So in today's NBA, all he would have to do was learn how to step back 3 or 4 more feet,
Right.
and Robinson would have been draining
And see,
threes.
that's what I think.
He's
That's
a better
what,
shooter. He's a better dribbler. He's a better faster. They call Duncan the big fundamental.
Right.
If you give Duncan now, if I'm going to give one of the ball,
If you give
I'm going to give
Duncan-
one of them the ball in the post,
I was about to say, in
yes,
the post, it's
maybe
Duncan.
But if I'm running an offense and I need him a player, and he can be in all 5 different places. Remember, Robinson started on the Dream. He was the starting center on the Dream Team as well. And people
I know.
forget about these things. So Robinson, he's 5th all-time PER, and he was on there with Barkley, Jordan, Magic, and who was the other star? Scotty.
Yeah, but
Scotty
everybody
started.
they'll just start making the excuses of, well, Robinson couldn't win one until Duncan got there.
Well, Duncan didn't win one without any other Hall of Famers.
With it.
How many Hall of
Which
Famers were
other
on his
which
second
other
ones?
Who else do you think is a Hall of Famer though?
Parker and Ginobili are both Hall of Famers. Yeah.
I don't know. Well, I know they will be, but I don't.
That's what. Yeah, they
I
definitely
don't
will
think
be.
of Hall of Famer when I think of Tony Parker. I just don't.
I was hoping you weren't going to say Ginobili there because I was going to.
No,
kick
I
you out of your
think
chair.
I think Ginobili is a lot better than Tony
Ginobili
Parker.
himself beat Shaq and Kobe that one year. I mean, Ginobili went off.
Ginobili
and
made the
destroyed them.
difference when the Spurs beat the Heat for the first time.
I can see what you say about Parker, but more than likely they're going to do that.
I know.
All right, well, let's
A Frenchman, he comes over here.
Right.
He's what 3-4-time world champion.
Right.
I mean, I can get it, but like statistical numbers, nothing blows you out. Nothing blows you out of the water for
So
Tony Parker.
if you're going foreign NBA starting lineup all time.
All time? Can Luka be on it already?
Yes.
Well, he might be there. Because they have Luka playing basically point guard.
I was about
for
to say,
San
what
Antonio.
position are you putting Luka? And then that's when I have the conversation. I can't put him over Ginobili right now, but
Well,
I would
Ginobili-
have the conversation
Ginobili can
over
be two
Parker.
guard.
I would have the
Ginobili-
conversation over Parker.
Yeah.
Ginobili could be 3-guard too.
Oh, yeah, he's, what, 6'5", 6'6"?
Yeah, Ginobili played 2 and 3. You'd have to have Dirk and Elijah one. I would start there.
I'm fine with that.
Those are your 4 and your 5.
I'm fine definitely with Dirk to be on there.
It just depends who you consider foreign player. Do you consider is Duncan a foreign player from the U.S. Virgin Islands? It starts with the U.S., but it's not technically the United States.
I'm not sure.
You don't have
Because
a feeling.
do you consider Canadians foreign players?
Right.
Like,
yes.
I mean, they're North American.
Non-American players.
Okay,
so then you got Steve Nash.
Yeah, you do
2-time
have-
MVP is your point guard, not Luka and not Tony Parker.
True.
Or you could
mean,
call
it's
it. You
tough.
could call it non-North American starting lineup.
Is
And if you do that, how do you leave out Yao Ming?
yeah,
What about Giannis?
Giannis.
He's in the starting lineup.
Greek. I mean, I'm telling you.
Hey, I'll tell you what, this Hunter. We'll go to the game,
Yeah.
and I'll have Steve Nash,
Okay.
Ginobili,
Okay.
Giannis, Dirk,
Yeah.
and Elijah one.
Right.
Find a team without Jordan on it that would beat that team. And if you don't want to do it Nash, you can put Luka. If you don't like Elijah one, you put Yao Ming. But you got an MVP, Giannis.
Well, okay. Now hold
Ginobili.
on. Now listen. Now it'll be tough, but
Right.
technically they could all play in different positions. I could literally put a team out there of Shaq at the 5,
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Durant at the 4, LeBron at the 3, Kobe Bryant at the 2,
Mm-hmm.
and
I mean, there's 1,000
I
point
don't know. There's
guards.
1,000
Pick one.
point guards. I mean, and
Right.
basically just keeping with what I've
Chris
got,
Paul.
you would have the guy back to the basket and Shaq. Your shooters, you could almost have Steph Curry in there
Right.
at the point guard.
But so let's back it up then. Elijah one smoked Shaq. Right?
Well,
Yeah. Then let's see.
Dirk
Dirk
would
smoked
be your power.
LeBron.
Yeah, but you have him now matched up on KD, and KD's guy can match up
Hunter.
for height.
If they played right now, in today's game, Durant would be a 3 and LeBron the 4. He weighs way
oh,
more.
well, I know he
and
weighs
he's
more
not
than
as-
him, but he's 7 foot tall.
Either way, Dirk. What I'm saying is, you got Dirk and Elijah one who smoked 2 guys on your team already.
Mm-hmm. I
I
know,
haven't
but
talked-
just
so then you got Giannis, and then you could say let's say Luka and Ginobili. That's a pretty good game. That's a pretty good game.
no, it'll be a fantastic game.
Yep.
Seriously,
Europeans need more.
and
credit
seriously, if those two teams were to match up and play 10 times, they could go 5-5.
Yeah. You got.
You've got
if you're
arguably the
considering
greatest shooter
Ewing
of all
off the
time.
bench, I don't know about that, but I guess you put Steph at point guard on that.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I'm just thinking, point guards. I mean, I could take Magic. I could put Magic on the team. You said as long as it doesn't have Jordan,
right,
you can put Magic
yeah,
on the team.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Jordan's just different. I just if you didn't see it, you just have to understand it's different. All right, Hunter.
Yeah.
Let's see. Back up to the Hornets real quick. Anything else on them before we talk the standings here? real
Nope,
quick
they just
before we move on for the playoffs?
lost when they had a game right in their grasp to win.
Mhm.
And if that's not the way that the Hornets lose most of the time, I don't know what is. If they're not getting blown out by 20 to 30, they'll lose one right there at the end, less than 1 or 2 points. Did someone send us a message? Yeah, I wanted to take this time also to say a big thank you to all of you tuning in on the live stream, and for those of you that are listening to us via podcast. Is it anything worth mentioning?
I mean,